Has your kids watching Luca on repeat have you dreaming about an Italy vacation, but not really sure what kids are going to want to do? Stay tuned for my ultimate Luca family itinerary. And don't forget to hit the bell below for more Disney-inspired vacations outside the theme parks.
I'm Christina. I'm a traveler, a planner, and most importantly, a mom. I'm sharing my best tips to make traveling as a family a little less stressful. So put down your phone, pack your bags, and let's showcase the world.
My name's Christina, and I'm the owner of Showcase the World Travel, a modern travel agency dedicated to helping moms take a break from the busy, have a vacation the whole family can enjoy without adding planning at all to their to-do list. And the reason I named my company Showcase the World is because I was inspired by my visits to the World Showcase as a kid to then go out and see the rest of the world. You know, I loved the Germany pavilion, I loved the UK pavilion, and I went and got to see those things. Now on my list, I'm in love with the Morocco pavilion and the Norway pavilion, and those are next on my bucket list. So I love going to Walt Disney World, but there's so much of the world for you and your families to explore. Just because you have kids doesn't mean you're stuck going to the theme parks, which is why I have created this Italy itinerary based on Luca. If you haven't seen Luca, Disney and Pixar's latest release, it's set in the fictional town on the Italian Riviera. The fictional town is called Ponte Rosso, and it is inspired by Cinque Terre, which is 5 little towns on the Italian Riviera. And the writer of the story actually grew up on the Italian Riviera, and they took the best parts of each of the town to create Ponte Rosso. And I love the story is adorable. I love the messages of silencing your fears to try new things. So despite the picturesque setting and the idea of sipping aperitivo on the cliffs overlooking the water, I know you have a fear of traveling to Italy with your kids. How are you going to visit the ruins without your kids whining? What do you do with them when you're finally living your dream of drinking wine in Tuscany? Well, SILêNCIO, BRUNO. Let's silence that fear, because just because you have kids doesn't mean you can't travel. You can go to Italy as a family and enjoy it, especially with me helping you plan your trip. So here's my suggested itinerary. You're not gonna want to fly all the way over to Italy and just do Cinque Terre. You're gonna want to go to Rome. You're gonna want to go to Tuscany. So I included a lot of that on the trip. Not all of it is Luca inspired, but you will see towards the end it gets really Luca inspired there. Flying internationally to Rome from the States, you're typically arriving in early morning, but you're dealing with jet lag, so I don't love doing a ton on that first day. To start off a Luca-themed itinerary, I recommend starting off with a Vespa tour, because it's the whole motivation of the movie is they want to get their own Vespa. And so there are Vespa tours that have sidecars, so children between 5 and 12 can sit in the sidecar and they can ride the Vespa in a safe way. And the Vespa tour will kind of give you an idea of the layout of Rome. The next day, again, not super Luca inspired, but you don't want to travel all the way to Rome and not visit some of the main attractions. So visiting the Colosseum, there's a great tour that with a provider that I use. It's a Gladiator for a day tour, so you get a unique exclusive tour of the Colosseum before it opens, and then you go to a training session at the Rome Gladiator School. So you have some healthy family competition. The kids get to kind of put the history into practice, become gladiators. After lunch, you're going to the Roman Forum, up Palatine Hill. A lot of history in one day, but getting that hike up the hill, and then there's a nice garden maze up there for the kids to run around. So a lot of energy being expended that day so that you will be ready for your museums on day 3. So heading over to the Vatican bright and early, you can do a tour there. I recommend like 2 or 3 hours with kids. You don't want to do more than that, to see the Raphael rooms, the Sistine Chapel, and St. Peter's Basilica. After that, I recommend the Borghese Museum. If you don't have another museum and you still go over there and check out the gardens, because you can rent bikes, you can take a carriage ride, or just meander. It's a great experience. But if you're up for some more art, then I recommend the Borghese Gallery. You can get an I Am the Artist book and and kids can kind of walk around and see the art with an explanation that kind of works for them. On day 4, you're going to head out to Tuscany, rent a car, hire a private driver for a day of exploring. I would recommend stopping in the hilltop town of Montepulciano. It's about a 2-hour drive from Rome, so just enough time for the kids to get antsy in the car, get out, find somewhere for lunch, and kind of roam around that medieval city. About an hour away from Montepulciano is Castello Bonfi. It's a beautiful family-owned estate in Montalcino. One of the bigger vineyards, but it has a castle for kids to explore, and in the tasting room they offer seltzer for kids to taste while you're tasting your wine. So a little bit of something for them to do while you get to enjoy your wine tasting. Then you're going to head on to your hotel in Florence. If you need to stop again, Siena is a great stop, or we can set up a farm tour. You can do a cheese tasting. There's a lot of goat farms out there, so that's another fun way to spend the afternoon. So now you're in Florence, and you're going to start the day with a tour of the streets with a guide, talking about legendary figures like Michelangelo, Galileo, and Dante, and visiting the Leonardo da Vinci Museum. So one of the tours that I use has a really interactive way of exploring Florence kind of through Leonardo da Vinci's eyes, and it has a workbook for kids, and it's really, really fun. Then for another fun hands-on activity and a special souvenir to take home, there's a 2-hour paper making class with Francesca Vanini, and it's an incredible hands-on activity for the whole family, and you get to make these authentic Florentine designs on paper. So you're going to spend another night in Florence, and then you're going to see a little bit more of their museums. So you can see I'm trying not to get a ton of museums in here, but you definitely want to, while you're in Italy, explore some of their museums. Florence has some of the most incredible museums, and a lot of them provide excellent programs to get young visitors involved. So check out some of the calendars and see what they have for classes that morning, what museum kind of works out best for your kids' interests. And then after your morning, after lunch, taking an afternoon tour out to Pisa to see the iconic Leaning Tower. Really, really fun for kids to see the science behind the Leaning Tower, and explore a little bit. Day 7, you're going to head from Florence to the Italian Riviera. So you're going to be staying in Monte Rosso this evening. So you're going to travel to Luca, which I couldn't have a Luca itinerary without a stop in Luca. And Luca by train is super easy. It's 20 minutes from Florence, and you can bicycle around the city's medieval walls, or you can take one of my favorite family tours, which is a medieval beasts and mystical symbols tour. And basically, kids get to go around looking and drawing some of the most famous beasts and symbols that are depicted around the medieval town. So they'll be challenged to find all of the animals, and they'll end up with their own kind of comic strip of them at the end. So you get to see your architecture, your history, and they get to do some fun drawing and scavenger type hunt. After lunch, you're going to take the 2-hour train journey out to Monte Rosso and just kind of enjoy yourself at the little beach town. I love Monte Rosso because it has the most sandy beach with the gradual water entrance of all of the towns in Cinque Terre. So that's why I have you kind of based there. So the next morning, you're going to get up, you're going to spend some time at the beach. Make sure you watch out for those sea monsters. Luca and Alberto might be there. So kind of enjoy the little town of Monte Rosso. It's extremely popular to hike between the 5 towns, but the best kind of combination of ease and accessibility for kids with the best views is the hike from Monte Rosso to Vernazza. So it's about an hour walk, so take a nice leisurely walk to Vernazza, have some lunch in Vernazza, then take the train up to, and this is where my Italian's going to be absolutely terrible. It's been terrible the whole time, but this is where it gets really bad, to Corniglia for gelato. They have a great gelato stand right there in the middle of town. Then you can take a boat to Manarola. So you're just kind of seeing these towns on different forms of transportation, which makes it really fun for kids, where you can enjoy the iconic view with your aperitivo, and there's a little playground near one of the bars, and so you can drink and your kids can play, and it's just the perfect day of adventure exploring Cinque Terre and all of the things that inspired Luca. You can see the sea creatures that kind of inspired this fishing town to tell this story. Then you're going to take the ferry back to your hotel in Monte Rosso and enjoy another evening there. The other place I want to make sure you see on your Luca itinerary is Genoa. They do talk about Genoa in the movie. That's where Julia goes to school, so I think that it's super important to make sure that that's part of your Luca itinerary. It's about an hour train ride from Monte Rosso. So you're going to start your day visiting what has become the symbol of the city. It's the aquarium of Genoa. Oh my goodness. The aquarium. It's the aquarium. It has 70 exhibits and 4 open-air tanks and 400 species, and you can really see how some of these creatures made these fishermen think that there were sea monsters. So that is a really fun way to incorporate Luca. And then no matter what your age or your destination, one of my favorite things to do on any itinerary is a food tour with a cooking class. And I saved this for the end. You could do one of these in any of the cities in Italy, but I wanted to do it in Genoa because it's the home of pesto. You remember the scene in Luca where he and Alberto start gobbling up all the pasta? That Julia's house? Well, it's Trinette al Pesto. And so this tour would be a tour, and I would set up for you that you would visit local gourmet food shops and markets and gather all of the ingredients, and then you would go back to a kitchen and make it yourself. So then you have this incredible recipe to add to your repertoire when you get home, and it's one of my favorite ways to relive those memories of your trip is to make those meals that you learned how to make in a cooking class. So then you have an overnight in Genoa, and then you would either fly out the next day or just spend an extra day in Genoa depending on how much time. So that's 10 days of a perfect itinerary for kids in Italy. Hopefully that inspired you to want to take, to help bring your kids' favorite movie to life by going to see some of these places in Italy. If you would like to get more Disney movie inspired trips to real destinations in the world, please hit the button below if you'd like me to help you plan your Italy trip. Use the link below to schedule a call with me. Thank you so much for joining, and don't forget to take a break from the busy.
Need help planning your next family vacation? Visit us at showcasetheworld.com to request a quote or schedule a free vacation consultation. Want more great travel tips? You'll find those there too.